If you teach a high income skill on YouTube, whether it's AI, agencies, coding, copywriting, sales, or anything like that, there's a good chance you're basically working for free, even if you're making decent money. It's not because you're not good at what you do, but because of a few things completely unrelated to your field that are limiting your potential. So here's my promise to you. By the end of this video, you'll know how to turn your audience into more income without any complicated tech. First, I'll show you the 3 biggest mistakes that keep creators underpaid even when their content is good. Then I'll walk you through a plug-and-play monetization plan that you can use today. And if you're wondering, yeah, but will this work for my niche? My name is Ben Pilton. I build 6-figure businesses for YouTube creators who teach high income skills. And in the last 6 months, I've generated over $333,000 US for clients using what I'm about to show you. I even won school games in June doing this. So the 3 biggest mistakes that keep creators underpaid even when their content is good. The first mistake is that they don't do a launch campaign for their new offer. If you're looking to sell something new to your audience, or if you've never sold something before to your audience, you need to have a launch campaign, and a few Instagram stories doesn't count. A few lines in YouTube videos does not count either. Even a single YouTube video dedicated to it does not really count, and I'll explain why. When you're releasing something completely new to your audience, you need what's called a launch campaign, and the easiest way I can break this down to make it understandable is you want to break it into 3 phases: whisper, tease, and shout. If you're more than a month, 2 months away, then you can do whispers basically every week, every other week. It just depends on what you're selling and the context and like the vibe, right? If you feel like you're doing it too much, then lower a bit. If you feel like you're not doing it enough, then increase the frequency. But whispers, generally, they're not that frequent, and the whole point of doing whispers is to build up some curiosity. Curiosity is going to be a key point to building up hype for anything. And if you think about any launch in the past, there's always been some curiosity behind it. And so if you just drop a new product or something that you're trying to sell without any sort of hype, just out of nowhere, if you're someone who's like super famous or super known or something, you can do that. But when you're teaching something online and you have a following but they don't really know much about it, then it's better to actually go with a proper launch campaign. Okay, so that's why you do the whispers, to build up curiosity. Then you go into what's called the tease phase. These are obviously just names, but essentially what you want to do during this tease phase is when you're like 4 weeks out or maybe 6 weeks out. Again, just depends on what you're selling. And you want to start giving some actual elements from what you're selling. So in the whisper phase, you might not have even mentioned what it is you're actually going to be selling them. But now in the tease phase, you can actually mention it, and you can sort of announce it with maybe the first tease. And then throughout like the weeks after that, you can give actual nuggets of value from your product or service or whatever it is that you're going to be selling. Okay, so think about it as like you're dropping some nuggets of value from the actual thing. So if you're releasing a book, let's say, then you want to give like actual parts maybe of the book and explain it in a video, or maybe you can give one of the chapters as like a lead magnet type of thing, right? So that's the tease phase. Then you go into the shout phase. The shout phase is the last 3 days before you actually release whatever it is that you're going to be selling, and the first 3 or however many days into the launch. Okay, this is how I consider it. And what you want to do is basically think just calls to action, as in telling people how to actually sign up, telling people how to actually buy the thing that you're going to be selling, how to register, how to get into the wait list, etc. Right? So you're going to be saying in a lot of these shouts like, click here to sign up to the wait list, click here to book a call, click here to XYZ, okay, to purchase, right? And basically in this phase, you can think of it like you can just go all out, because this doesn't happen often. This is an exceptional moment, right? Exceptional moment, let's say. And you can basically do 3, let's say, emails a day, 3 stories a day, 3 reels a day, 3 YouTube videos a day if you can. Obviously, if you prepare for this properly, then you will be able to. And the more like kind of content you can put out in the shout phase, the better results you're going to get in terms of your launch. Okay. Now, how does this break down, like, in the more specific details? There's a bunch of different channels that you can go down with the whisper tease shout, right? Obviously, you have email lists, like sending out emails. You can do webinars, ads, SMS sequences, affiliate marketing, Instagram stories, Instagram reels, YouTube shorts, YouTube long form. There's a lot of different ways, and a lot that I didn't even list here, right? That will depend on you and like what you do and stuff like that. You can even send out actual mail, like physical mail and stuff like that. But just to break it down, like let's say you have an email list and you want to send out emails for the launch. Well, if you're in the whisper phase, then you can send maybe like 2, like let's say 1 email like every other week, or 1 email a week, where you're just giving value, basically what you usually do, but then you add on like, you know, a line at the end, or like a PS line, which is about the curiosity, building curiosity about your new thing that you're going to be selling. If you're going to do a webinar, then in the whisper phase, you would basically be referencing essentially the webinar, because when you're doing a launch with a webinar, this can be very, very powerful. You just need to make sure you do the webinar right. If you want to know how to do webinars properly, I don't have anything to sell you on that. Yes, I can do webinars. I can actually set them up for you. But if you want to do it yourself, then you can read a book called One to Many by Jason Fladlien. And essentially, I'm not going to go into like specifics of webinar in this video, but what you can do is, let's say someone registers for free registration of the webinar, you can then VIP upsell them and give them bonuses, right? So let's say that let's say you're like a fitness coach and you want to do a webinar about weight loss. If someone registers and I want to make even more money just like on the spot for each person that comes in, because maybe I'm running ads and I want to make back the money from the ads, then I would do, once they register, by the way, like, you know, upgrade to VIP and you get, you know, let's say weight loss playbook, you get, let's say a free lead magnet, which is like XYZ thing. Anything like that, the more bonuses you can add on, the more like of a no-brainer you can make the VIP upsell. You get the recording from the live stream with a transcript, whatever it is, right? Stack bonuses, you get people to buy that, and then you're basically making back the money if you're spending on ads, or you're making just money straight up if you're coming all from organic, right? And then obviously at the end of the webinar, you can sell people into your offer, okay? Which is very powerful if you do it properly. Again, I can set this up for you, but if you want to do it yourself, Jason Fladlien, One to Many. Now, in terms of the webinar, it's obviously gonna come at the end, like on the shout phase, right? But you can start getting people to opt in even in the tease phase, okay? And what I like to do is I like to do like what I call like an active wait list, okay? It means people are not just sitting on an email list doing nothing. They're actually being active in the wait list. How do you do that? You either need to have a WhatsApp community, or you need to have a school community, or something where people can view things and interact as well. Like on WhatsApp, they can either drop likes on the message, or you can even allow them to message in the group if you wanted to do that. If you have a lot of people though, it can get messy. So I recommend doing a school group, and you can basically lock just one post where no one can make posts, only you can make posts, and there's just one post that you made where you ask people to make intros and you get them to interact with each other. And this is deadly. We've done this and it just gets people to interact a lot before the launch even happens, and it keeps people engaged so that they don't, you know, nowadays there's so many things going on, so many launches, so many news and all that. People will get lost. But if they have some reason, they made a new friend, or they're just interested and there's a lot of conversation going on and they want to be updated on the conversation with, let's say, weight loss specifically to them, then they'll check the group, they'll check the WhatsApp community, they'll check the school community, right? So this can be very, very powerful. And I am going on a bit of a tangent here, but I think it's very useful. So a waitlist community, an active waitlist, is going to be key as well to having a good launch, in my opinion. Now, ads, obviously you can run them as well, and just make sure that they're relevant to each part of the phase. I would maybe not run ads until you're in the tease phase, and then start getting people into the waitlist, okay? SMS sequences, don't go crazy with SMS, especially in the shout phase, like 3 SMS a day. You can do it, but just make sure that you save it for maybe like the launch day of the webinar. Let's say if you're doing a webinar, or the launch day of the low ticket product, or the launch day of the high ticket coaching service, right? Because you want the highest returns. And if you spam 3 messages a day, it could cause problems with like A2P and all this. So there's like some really strict regulations when it comes to that. So just be careful there, but definitely have some sort of SMS sequence similar to email sequence, but make SMSs way shorter and just to the point, and just like tell people, hey, I'm going to be sending you like, you know, six messages until the launch, let's say, for example. That way people know, right? And they're less likely to like write stop to opt out, essentially. Affiliate marketing, with this, you just need to make sure that your affiliates are getting rewarded properly. And whatever reward you have in your head, it probably needs to be like 10 or 100 times better to get people to do something. It's not as easy as it sounds to get people to actually market for you, obviously, but we underestimate it a lot. And so you need to make sure that the rewards that you're giving to your affiliates are not just like, let's say, monetary, unless it's like a lot of money. Let's say like the top affiliate gets like 100,000 or something, I don't know, just a random example. That'll be good, but again, it's also a bit unrealistic, and it might not actually end up giving you returns. Plus, money is something that these affiliates can get just themselves, right? So it's not really a unique reward. So if you can make the reward unique and you can make it something that is worth it for them to hustle towards, then that would be good. And you can have like obviously like top 5 rewards and top 10 rewards and stuff like that. Just depends on how many affiliates you can get. Instagram story sequence, again, all of these channels will stay in line with the Whisper Tea Shout. So the Whisper Tea Shout is like basically giving you the direction and telling you which phase you're in, and you can do each of these in each phase, right? Maybe, for example, some of them, use your intuition. Affiliate marketing, maybe you wouldn't do it in the Whisper phase, but when you start teasing and people know what it is, you've announced it, then you can start doing affiliate marketing. And stuff like SMS sequences you wouldn't do in the Whisper phase. Either Whisper phase, I would just keep it to organic stuff, and then as you get into the teas, you can start doing pretty much everything. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, again, you need to keep it in line with the Whisper Tea Shout. As you get closer, make sure you have Reels ready, Shorts ready that are calls to action. And if you do something called CTA Reels, which I really like, you can get like thousands of comments basically by the call to action. You tell them, hey, comment below if you want XYZ. And if you do the reel correctly and the reel gets good views, the comments can go absolutely crazy. I've seen reels with like 20,000 comments, 30,000 comments. Even ones with 1,000, 2,000 are still crazy, because think about it, that's one reel and that got that person like 2,000 leads. It's like super worth it. And imagine that for like a launch. Yeah, it can be absolutely deadly. But again, you need to sit down and plan these things out. This is not going to happen randomly. This is not something that, no thought goes behind it and then suddenly it's going to be an amazing launch. You need to actually sit down and be thoughtful and mindful of these things. Same thing with YouTube long form. You can have like a sequence ready, a plan of videos specifically for your launch, a VSL, right? A VSL with the launch would be amazing. I would highly, highly recommend that. And I would make the VSL in a way where it can be basically an organic video as well, like an evergreen video, but it's also a VSL. Not something easy to do, but if you follow the right frameworks and you make sure that you're hitting pain points, that you're touching on the dream outcome, that you're basically doing everything you need to do for a VSL, which is a video sales letter, then you can make it an evergreen video as well. And that can just stay as like your VSL on YouTube until you have a new offer. And you can actually link this. I know I'm going on a tangent again, but you can actually link other videos to this video to basically get this video to sell for you, because a video sales letter is what it sounds like. It sells for you, okay? It handles objections, it touches pain points, it touches on the dream outcome, it tells them what they're gonna avoid by going with you and not going with other people. You can throw rocks basically at the way other people do things and say why their way is not good and why your way is good. Obviously use facts. And yeah, so that can be deadly as well. And then if you link every YouTube video in the description, instead of putting like, let's say your offer, you put that video, well, that video is actually going to sell way better than just them going to the link in the description. And so I would recommend that as well, 100%. By the way, if I give you even one thing that was valuable so far in this video, then go to the first link in the description and book a call, because I'm going to audit your funnel completely for free so you can avoid any mistakes and increase your conversion rates, double, quadruple your revenue just by making a few changes to your funnel. I'm going to do that completely for free. You can leave your credit card at home. Go to the first link in the description and we'll talk soon. But that's the tangent done. And let's go to mistake number 2. So not enough time spent on the business side of things. Of course, as I was touching on earlier, this is not something random. This is not something that's just going to happen by itself. And so you need to start learning it, okay? Like if you're looking to do this on your own, then even if you're not looking to do this on your own, at least having some basic knowledge is going to be very useful so that people can't cheat you or just like come in and overcharge you and stuff like that. So read books, watch videos. You can join paid mentorships as well. Learn about these things: copywriting, paid ads, offer creation, sales, email marketing, AI automations, community management, landing page optimization. I can do whole videos on just each of these things, but I think the most important one is copywriting, because it applies into all of these. Maybe not into offer creation, and maybe not into sales as well. But basically, if you learn copywriting, it's all the text that goes into your, let's say, your content scripts, your landing page, your VSLs, your video sales letters, right? So knowing how to convince people via text is going to be a very, very high leverage skill. And so I would highly recommend at least knowing that, and at least knowing about offers and what makes a good offer, which I'm going to actually touch on in a second here. The third mistake I see is bad funnels. So specifically bad friction, okay? This can stop someone from making a purchase. This can lower your conversion rates drastically. If you have a 0.5% conversion rate on your landing page versus a 2% conversion rate on your landing page, then you're basically losing out on not just 1.5%, but 1.5% as a value of the 0.5. We do a quick calculation here. We do 2.0, 2 divided by 0.5. You actually 4 times lower than what you could be. Like your revenue is 4 times lower than what it should be, because the 2% is like a general landing page conversion number. And if you're converting at 0.5% because you have a lot of bad friction on the page, well, then you know you're losing out not just on 1.5%, but on 4 times the amount of revenue, like quadrupling your revenue. So what causes bad friction? Well, how many links do you have in your bios? Where does each link in your bio go to? You need to make sure that you make this one path, okay? One straight line path. If you have a landing page and you have another landing page and a third landing page and you have a link tree as well, then it's just gonna cause confusion for the prospects. And if they click on your Instagram bio and then 4 links pop up all with different labels, they might not even know which one to click, especially if they just discovered your content, they're someone new. You don't want them to go onto that and then get confused. Even if they do click on one of the links, well, if they're new to your page, they might not even know which one to use, and maybe the one they drop on isn't the one for them. And so this is why I always recommend linking to a YouTube VSL, just like the one I mentioned earlier, in your Instagram bio, because that will actually lead them to watching more of your content, gaining more trust in you instead of just shorts. Shorts and reels, average watch time is super low, and it's not enough for someone to gain extreme trust in you. So imagine you're just scrolling on your phone and then you see someone's video and you're, oh wow, this is cool, and you click on their page and then maybe watch a few more. You're not ready to buy at that point. But if you watch like an hour-long video or a couple hours of content on YouTube, then you're much more likely to be in a buying position, and because you're in a higher trust position, okay? Is all your content and your copy congruent? For example, if you say something in your videos and then someone opens up the landing page and it's like a completely different thing, it's going to be confusing and they're going to click out. Again, I'm not saying you're doing this, but bad friction can be caused by this. Is your whole funnel fluid? Like, again, everything should be easy to go through and seamless, right? A good test is like, give this to your mom or aunt or someone that, you know, maybe is not the best with technology, and see if they can actually go through it. If they can, then you pass the test. If they can actually make a purchase, right, or get to the point of making a purchase, then that means that you pass the test. If they can't, then keep optimizing it and keep getting them again to use it until they can actually make a purchase on their own. And then you'll know that you made it easy enough, okay? If you look at any other company, if you're trying to buy something from Apple or anyone, right, they make it as easy as possible to purchase, you know, buy with Apple Pay and stuff like that, because they know it's a very, very important thing and it drives a lot of sales and increases the conversion rate by a lot. And that's why they put that much time and effort into it, okay? Your VSL messaging, again, make sure that it's congruent, meaning that it's the same as your content. Your content needs to be the same as the landing page headlines. It all needs to be in line with one another. Again, how is it for a customer to pay you? Make sure your links, if you're dropping links into a YouTube video to a landing page or your offer, make sure they're the first line of the description. If they're not, and someone has to press read more to see it, first of all, 99% of people don't press read more. And another thing is, on mobile, some people don't even see the description until they press like more, okay? I don't know why YouTube does that, but now they just show like the comment section as like the first thing on mobile. So if you actually have it as the pinned comment, it might even perform better on mobile. And then you can obviously say in the video, call to action to the pinned comment in the first line of the description. CTAs, your calls to action, you want to do it around 30% of the way through the video. That way you gave them enough value that it's like, okay, they kind of appreciate it. And then now it's like you can give a call to action, okay? Now, make sure if you're doing a direct call to action, make sure it's very clear. Okay, if you're telling them go to the link in the description, make sure you say, scroll down the video, click the link in the first line of the description and join XYZ, okay? Or click the link in the pinned comment, go to the comments, click the link in the pinned comment and join. Now, there's another way of doing CTAs which can be good as well, which is called it doesn't really have a name, but I just call it showing, not telling. You want to make sure that if you do this, it needs to be seamless and it needs to make sense with the context. Just a disclaimer. Basically, when, let's say you're selling a book, and instead of telling them, hey, by the way, my new book is out and click the first link in the description, instead, let's say I'm talking about a math equation and my book is on maths, right? I made a math book. I'll say, okay, in order to actually solve this equation, I'm just going to open my book to page 105. And as you can see, I'm just going to use the exact formula that I have on this page and just plug in the values, right? And then you just do you continue the video using the stuff from the book or from the service or from the lead magnet or whatever it is. And that's it. And amazingly, if you think about it, someone watching your video who actually wants to achieve the goal that you're selling them is going to be like, wait, where did he get that, right? And then if it's the first line in your description, pinned comment and everything, like for example, imagine your description is, oh, by the way, you want the book that is in the video, click here, or the same thing in the pinned comment, then, people are going to be like very interested to know how it is you're doing what you're doing, especially if they trust you, okay? So that's the show, not tell CTA. Now let's move on to the plug and play monetization plan, okay? Doesn't matter if you're already selling something or if you never sold anything, you can literally just plug and play your things into this, okay? So the first thing for this plug and play monetization plan is you want to create a no-brainer offer. People a lot of the time come up with something and then they tell me that, it's like a good offer, and I just look at it and just know that it's not good. And the reason it's not good is because of these 4 variables, okay? The dream outcome, the likelihood of achievement, effort and sacrifice, and time delay, okay? If you want to make an offer that is so good that people cannot refuse it, you need to make sure each of these things are optimized. You need to make sure the dream outcome is as amazing as it can possibly be for what you're selling. If you're selling sales, then you need the person to believe, and their dream outcome for them needs to be that they want to make like 50K a month, let's say, from sales, okay? Obviously, you can go even higher than that, but just an example. You want the likelihood of achievement to be very high as well. What this means is they need to believe that you are the one that is going to achieve them this result, okay? Like with 200% certainty. The higher you can get this, the better. How do you actually make this higher? Something to think about, but I'll tell you from now, if you have long form videos, if you set up yourself in a position of authority and show proof, right, in your videos of other people you've helped that are just like them, that's why it's good to have a bunch of different testimonials, not just of one type of person, but as high a range as you can possibly have testimonials. This is going to increase the likelihood of achievement because people relate to people that are like them, okay? And if they see someone like them got the same result, then they're going to have more trust in you, right? But you need to show proof, okay? And you need to show that you're an authority in, let's say, sales, right? Everyone can come in and say they're an authority in sales, but like if you can't show that you've done good commissions, that you've done like, let's say 50K, 100K months in commissions, then no one is actually going to believe you, right? And if you can't show that you've gotten others to that point, well, then obviously they're not going to have as much faith in their dream outcome either. So this all goes hand in hand, but basically these two, you want to increase it as much as you possibly can. The dream outcome is something you can set, like you can say like become a 50K a month closer, for example. And the likelihood as well, you can set by making sure your videos are made well and that they position yourself in a position of authority and that you show concrete proof that you are the one that will help them to do this, okay? Time delay, how long will it take? If it takes me 2 years to get, if it takes me 2 years to get to the point of making 50K a month from sales, for some people, maybe that's too long. If it takes a year, maybe that's better, right? So the lower the time delay can be, the better. And obviously don't lie about this, make it realistic as you possibly can, because people are gonna be different. There's gonna be different people. But if you say, for example, as long as you do every single thing that I tell you in 90 days, you're gonna be making 10K a month from sales, for example, right? That way you can hedge it on what they are gonna be doing. So they need to actually do the actions, but then you can set like the 10K a month as like the lowest thing that is possible if they just do all of these things, right? Effort and sacrifice, obviously when it comes to something like sales, weight loss, it's gonna be a lot of effort and sacrifice from the prospects part. But you can lower this as much as you have control over. Let's say you're a coach and you somehow found a way that they can just eat the same things and still lose weight. then you can use that, right? Because that's less effort and sacrifice. Buy the same things at the grocery store and still lose 20 kilogram in 6 months, for example, right? Then that's going to be more attractive. Again, the lower you can make time delay, the lower effort and sacrifice from their end, then the higher the value, okay? And the more that you can charge for that as well. So all of that together, if you maximize it, you'll make an offer so good people feel stupid saying no. There is another element to this, right? Because yes, like those 4 variables are always true in every offer, but then you also want to make sure that, you know, your offer actually goes in line with it, because then there's also the pricing part of it. There's also, you know, how it actually works specifically, right? But what you can do first is you can create a one-liner offer statement. Basically, I help target audience achieve dream outcome in time delay without effort and sacrifice, okay? I help busy professionals lose 20 kilograms in 3 months without buying different groceries. Just a random example, but that's kind of like the one-liner offer statement. You don't even need to necessarily use this in your marketing, but it will give you an idea, a better idea of how you can write your copy and stuff like that. Now, the one thing and the most important thing to keep in mind is that the value should be way more than the price, okay? If you want to charge $10,000, let's say, for a fitness program, okay? The value of it should be way more than the price. If it's just a 3-month program and you tell me I'm going to lose 5 kilograms, well, that doesn't really sound worth the price to me, right? But if you say that you're going to work with me, let's say, this is just an example, but like for life, you're going to be my one-on-one coach for life. That's already like, oh, wow, okay. But then you say, you're also going to do the groceries for me. You're going to pick me up, take me to the gym. It's like, that is like when you're stacking the value way more than the prices, because the 10,000 sounded like a lot, but now it's like, wait, this guy gonna work for me for life and he's gonna pick me up, take me to the gym, like a personal chauffeur, you know, like this is just an example, but it's to demonstrate that the value needs to be higher than the price. If you want to charge a high price, you can charge as high as you want, but if the value is not there, people are not gonna want to opt into that, right? The second thing that you can plug and play into right now is you need to make sure that your funnel is a straight line path, okay? Go to your funnel right now. If you don't have one, then build it in this way, okay? So clear CTAs. Any CTAs on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form need to be very clear, or the show and tell CTA, which I talked about, okay? So if you're doing a direct CTA, click the first link in the description. Click the pinned comment link. Very clear. Scroll down and click XYZ, okay? YouTube bio needs to be a direct link to either the YouTube VSL that you made that we talked about earlier, or just directly to the offer, okay? One link in the YouTube. You don't need to link your Instagram. You don't need to do any of that. Just link directly to the offer and have one link only. When they click, it's just going to take them directly to the page. It's not going to pop up another, you know, couple options for them to make there, which is, you know, it's another fork in the road. Yeah, it's not like a life or death thing, but it will help in terms of conversion. It will add up. All these small things add up. Instagram bio, I think, again, take it directly to a YouTube VSL. Flywheel VSL is what it's called. And basically, that YouTube video is having a link in it, which actually goes to the landing page, but it sells them on it, okay? That YouTube video is your salesman, and it handles objections. It throws rocks at the competition. It touches all the pain points of the customer, how they talk about it, okay? So that IG bio, I think, should go to the YouTube VSL. But if you're not going to do that, make sure there's just one link and it just goes to the landing page or whatever your offer is, okay? Just one link, not multiple, no link tree or anything like that, okay? Same thing here. And so you want to also, if you have multiple offers, just do a survey on the page, like a form on one landing page, that then directs them to the right offer based on their qualification, okay? So if they have like $50, you're not going to send them to a high ticket page. You'll send them to your low ticket offer, okay? If you do have one. If you have a landing page as well right now, or you haven't made one yet, then make sure that headline, VSL, button are all visible without having to scroll, okay? And the way that you need to do this is you need to make sure on desktop it's like that, on tablet, and on mobile. So on each of the views, make sure that it's visible, and then test it on your phone and test it on like someone else's phone who has a bigger or a smaller phone, okay? Just to make sure that it works for everyone, because everyone has different devices, and we've been there before where some people were not even seeing the button, and if they don't see it, then they will just be, some of them will be confused. You'll be surprised what people say. But anyway, just make sure that you are adhering to each of them. And then the actual headline itself, make sure that it's a good headline. Make sure that you call out pain points in this VSL. Make sure you make it properly. There's a lot of resources out there for VSL. I even talked about it in one of my last videos. But essentially, make sure that you throw rocks at the competition. You touch on the pain points, touch on the dream outcome. Tell them that, it's not their fault that they're in this position, and it's because of, XYZ other thing, and explain it, but obviously make sure it's true as well. And then testimonials on the page as well. And the button, make sure it's very clear, the text on it, the actual color of the button. Make sure it's clear and easy to see. Don't try to make it so fancy that it's like, confusing. And then make sure your testimonials, you have different type of testimonials, again, different types of people, just from all different backgrounds, if you can have testimonials, okay? The third thing is your content packaging right now. How is it, okay? Are you spending 80% of the time of your content working on the title, hook, and thumbnail? Because those are the most important parts. Those are the parts that's gonna get your video through the algorithm to skyrocket. Okay, if those parts of your video are not 100% optimized, the algorithm is not going to push your video. Well, if you go look at the analytics on YouTube, you will see that the CTR, okay, and everything like that is going to be determined by the retention. So if there's not a lot of retention in the video, then YouTube is not going to push it as much. They see that people are watching this video until the end, like a lot of people, then they're going to make sure that the algorithm recommends it because it's keeping people on their platform. That's what they want, so they can show more ads, etc., right? So research similar videos and videos in other niches as well. So find videos of people in your niche, but also find people not in your niche, okay? And look at what titles, thumbnails, hooks are performing the best, okay? And you can make your next video based on that. I'm going to touch on something else as well called the 70-20-10 rule in a second, but the hook formula, like the first minute, let's say 30 seconds to a minute of your video, you want to use pain, promise, proof, plan, and picture. This is what I did as well in the beginning of this video. Maybe my picture wasn't that good, but still. So you want to touch on a pain, you want to give them a promise, right? What are they going to get from watching this video? Touch on a pain point first, give the promise, then show proof. Why should they actually listen to you? Because there's so many other people saying the same thing. Plan. What is the plan in this video? How am I going to get to the promise at the end? And then if you can visually represent the plan, that's going to be very helpful for people as well. Now if you already have a bunch of videos uploaded, go through your videos and look at the ones that had the best packaging, the best views, the best retention and everything like that. And look at the title, thumbnail, and the hook of each of those videos and store them somewhere in like an Excel sheet or something, okay? And the reason I'm saying this is because if you want to use the 70-20-10 rule, I think it was Google or something that came up with this. If 70% of your work, you do it based on the best performing work that works, that is like the best performing, let's say your top 10 videos, right? And then 20% is based on other people's good success, so like other people's good videos and stuff like that, whether it's your niche or other niches. And then 10% is completely new, innovative ideas that you just come up with yourself that you're just testing, okay? This formula, apparently, according to Google, gives you like the best return on your investment in terms of time and in terms of money, okay? So 70-20-10, get the 70% based on what's working. If you're completely new and you have not made videos, just start making a bunch of videos. Don't think about 70-20-10, just make a bunch of videos. Obviously, look at the people in your niche and other niches. And then over time, you can actually start putting into each category, your different winners and stuff like that, okay? The fourth thing you can do is do a webinar and do a mini launch for it, okay? I know this might sound like daunting or scary at first, but trust me, it's not. It just takes a lot of time and planning, okay? But basically what you can do is, if you just want to do a webinar and test it out and see how it is, do a 4-week launch at least, okay? And during this 4-week launch, you want to do daily emails, you want to do a WhatsApp group with daily messages, or a school community with daily posts or something like that. Something daily, okay, to keep people engaged, because throughout a 4-week period, there's obviously going to be a lot of distractions, right? You want to make sure that you're staying on top of it and you're reminding them consistently. Of course, you need to create a landing page, a good VSL for this webinar. Again, this VSL needs to sell the webinar, okay? Just to be clear, it does not need to sell your actual offer. All it needs to sell is for someone to click register button on that page. That's it, okay? So you do not make this as if you're selling your actual offer. Make sure the landing page is optimized like how I mentioned earlier, and make sure that you have all the different elements of a landing page in there, and make sure that they can actually see everything up to the button without having to scroll down. That way you can actually start collecting email registrations, numbers, and qualify people. Do not let anyone into the webinar who is not qualified. It's just not going to help you, and it's not going to help the other people in the call either, because if they see a bunch of randoms in there that don't really care, then it's not really going to help them be more, more, how do you say it, convinced that what you're doing is the right thing for them, okay? So you want to make sure that you let people in that are qualified. You qualify them on the landing page. You can have a form in there before they register. Ask them like 3-4 questions, multiple choice, and then you can qualify them based on that. And you want to also send emails, obviously, SMS reminders. I'm not going to go into so many details right now on the webinar, but this is like the general idea. If you run ads to the webinar, amazing. If you don't, it's okay, as long as you make sure you have like a decent like organic following or decent opt-ins from organic, then you should be good. And another really important thing is you want to have a post-webinar purchase sequence, either on SMS, email, both, or just every way you can contact someone that opted in. It's probably just going to be through email and SMS. But basically, if someone didn't buy your thing, make sure you only obviously send this to people who did not buy. You can get them to buy. So for example, you can say, hey, saw you attended the webinar like right after. Here's the recording. By the way, I noticed like you didn't get a chance to get XYZ offer, but I wanted to give you something else which is still special, but it's different. And then you can like drop whatever link to another offer, or it's the same offer maybe, but just less of a discount. You get what I mean, right? And it can even be the same offer. Just give them another chance to, hey, I just wanted to give you another chance to get it. And then you send like, let's say 5 to 6 emails throughout the next 2 to 3 days after the webinar. This will get you a lot of purchases. Trust me, we did this and it worked like a charm. You just need to make sure that you do like 2 emails a day, I would say, for around 3 days. It should be good. And then you can add some scarcity by saying, this offer is going to run out like in 72 hours, let's say, or 48 hours. And then each email you can just kind of remind that. And yeah, it works really, really well. Okay. So those are the 4 things for the plug and play monetization plan. And if you want me to audit your funnel completely for free and go through and check off a lot of things that I mentioned here and more smaller details that maybe, the normal person might miss, or that you just didn't think about, or you don't really care that much about business and you just want someone to just do this for you, then just click the first link in the description and go to the landing page. There's going to be a calendar on there that you can actually book a call on. Just scroll down a bit or just click the button. It will take you there, and I'll audit your funnel completely for free. You can leave your credit card at home, and I'd love to just generally have a chat. All right, talk soon.